Hello. Now it's time for a topic and subject I really wanted to talk about again. Or more specifically, talk about in depth, and usually specifically for myself. I've talked about this before, if you're reading the title of this, so you already know what the fuck I'm about to say. And in case anybody was wondering, there's never going to be anything on the screen in these kinds of videos for this, in terms of things. Try shit out. So feel free to put it on the background. Don't feel guilty and think that you have to look at my face all goddamn time with my curmudgeonly ass, unless you just like looking at me. In which case, that's not about. But so, why do I and should you monetize your haters? Well, that's a very multi-tiered question. The first answer I would give you for myself is, why do I mock people? Why do I choose to put myself on a video? Why would I choose to waste my time making tweets? Why would anybody waste time engaging with social media? Why would anybody do any of those things? And my answer is because it's fun. It's fun to mock idiots. It's fun that when people try to lie, you break down the lie on screen. It's mind-boggling. It's something weird that I've never been able to understand and see in any of my time doing social media management, either for corporations, for campaigns, or political offices, or otherwise. Something about seeing a person get on screen and stand the slings and arrows of harassment, and then do something like what I did, which was fleece the bag out of people who tried to mock me about Suko Takai, which is to say, rather, people trying to what's the word? Bully, harass, harangue, and just generally spam my account to try to tell me to shut the fuck up. Dealing with that by in video format, by responding to it with videos, actually going through each reply and response, so that I could then show it to my HR management team and ask them, hey, I would like to have my exemption status, please. Why? Is there something you should do? Is there something wrong? Oh no, I just deal with this 24/7. So when anything I do on social media happens, people are going to harass me about it. This is what you can expect to see in your inbox should people find out where I work and whom I work for. Can I have that exemption status? Went through it, gave me the status, free and clear. By the way, if you're one of the people who did that, thanks for the money. You gave me 4 raises. They gave me another one, actually. But that's the number one reason. It's fun, but the number two reason is the second one I just explained. It's because paperwork. One of the most important reasons to monetize your haters is a bit of an interesting detail, which requires discussion. This is going to be a long one. It's not just a person who should monetize their haters. Corporations should monetize their haters. Companies and businesses should monetize their haters. But the way they should monetize haters usually is in the fashion and the field in which they are fit with. A corporation trying to do business should compete and also monetize their competitors and their rivals by also doing better business. That means undercutting. That means offering a higher quality service at a fairer, if not lower and better price in value in comparison to what you are giving them. If somebody offers me, here's just a random example, not necessary, but if somebody was to answer, it was to ask me what would be my price for giving top, and somebody said they give top for 10, and I'd said I'd give top for 5, and I'd caress the sack, that would be me be doing better business. Am I doing the same work for half the price? Yes. But I'm making sure that it has a satisfaction guaranteed. And therefore, using this structure, I would then be able to build a better business because I will have repeat customers. I will have people who will know they can go there to get their top and their massage for the value and price that it deserves. Then that becomes a brand. Then that brand becomes resplendent, etc., 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 etc. But that's not how most people consider this issue and project. It tends to be much more nebulous. depending on what kind of industry you're talking about that it happens in. How do you become a better streamer? You become a better streamer by becoming a better personality. How do you become a better personality? Well, it's not just as simple as fall forehead, be a better person. Because be a better person means self improvement. It means looking at what you're doing wrong and correcting the mistakes, either small or large, as you're going. Perfect example. Look at the actual self improvement that's been made on this channel since July of last year. Look at how far we've come. Look at how much I've grown. Look at how much growing I still have to do. Look at the fact that I'm making goals that seem to be big, but in reality are obtainable, but just require work. That is a perfect example of self improvement. I try to live my standards so that I can be an example to others. So when I say, here's what you should do, and somebody says that can't be done, I point to myself and I say, yes, you can, I did it. And if they say, no, I can't do it, it's too hard, I say, did you try? And then from there, they learn and grow. Those are perfect examples how and why. And part of a self improvement process like this for a person, or organization, or a group is self improvement over time. Perfecting all those small things. Going from small time streamer to big time personality and name that everybody recognizes and knows in their house. It is the literal gap of investment and also adoption of technology or information over time. You gotta go from the early adopter phase all the way over into the latecomer and stragglers phase. You gotta win over that 87.11%, I think it is, share of the audience. You got to get all those newcomers. You got to get the people who are going to early adopt you. You got to get the people who come after them. You got to get the people who are in the middle of that graph over there. The Johnny come latelys and the general standards. And then the people who are on the outset, they'll come after they realize everybody else has come. Because at that point, everybody who's over here who early invested, they know they see the potential. And then everybody else is like, oh, this is trending upwards. I guess I should get onto this, And then everybody else is there is like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that product is. I know what that person is. They'll come in and they'll do that. And then it goes down the lag. And then when you get to the end here, you have people who have never been able to get involved in it or don't know anything about it that have low information, actual low information people, and they'll adapt it like that. And part of that comes from the notoriety of what you do, which is where the monetizing your haters comes in part is for businesses like live streaming and just general people who are content creators. This is always going to be a very interesting topic to talk about because the way that you monetize those people who do not like you and speak down about you is always going to depend based on what that actually is about. So I guess it should be a 1A and 2A kind of thing, right? 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. But I'm just going to talk about them in two different types. I'm going to talk about how it would be for a person, how it is for myself, and how it would be for a corporation. We've already covered the first two, how it would be for the corporations, and how would it be for some individual out there doing it for themselves. But this is now going to be the interesting part because I'll use myself and my experience as a measure for you to compare this to, so you have some frame of reference. So, I've already answered why do I do it? What would be the value to doing that? Now, the nitty gritty. Why is that a thing that would be necessary? In this business, in any business, but specifically and explicitly in live streaming or any content, or just being a authoritative speaker, when you deal with people who will harangue and harass you by attempting to nullify your opinion, by completely dismissing your personhood. This needs more powder in it. By dismissing your personhood. I'm going to speak up. I need to grab something. Who try to dismiss your personhood, they will tell you that you don't matter because, lol, you're so fringe. Nobody knows your content. Nobody who knows who you are. You should just stop talking. They'll use any method to make you feel small so that you eliminate yourself. Because that is where a lot of problems with content consumption comes from. Why shadow banning is such a big thing. That's why taking away people's ability for their content to be seen is such a fucked up and unfair system. Because the system is unfair because they're not competing against other people. They have no idea to know that they're being fucked over by a corporation or a business that is just simply saying, we decided that we don't like your content, and therefore we're going to do everything in our power to make sure you can't succeed as a business person. That is unfair because that, A, doesn't let you know whether or not people are not engaging with the product because the product is bad, or people are not engaging with the product because somebody's throttling your connection. This is very big and problematic when you start talking about being an up and comer. You're not going to have this be a problem when people already know you and your household brand. This is why corporations do this all the time to each other, throttling somebody else's service so that they prefer your service over theirs if you're using the competitor for things like internet service providers. But it can be a thing that happens in a business by people specifically. Hey, don't watch that person. They're a insert insult here. Watch me. I'm a anti-insert person insult here. And sometimes, when you're working in an industry like live streaming, you will. It's an inevitability. You have to accept it. You will come across people who will attack you on the basis of whatever it is they want to have an upset issue with you about. For me, oh yeah, that tastes better now. For me, the first time was when Natalie Casanova tried to lie about me publicly, and lo and behold, Keemstar comes to the rescue. Second time was being attacked by fucking crazies out there on the internet, like I am Griffineer / Eric. A person sends me an email that I didn't even know I received. Like, in the week that I received it, 7 days after it had been received in the inbox. Calling me, and now upgrading from just calling me a useful idiot of the alt-right to calling me alt-right. Using horrible, flagrant language and behavior. Shameful, Eric. How dare you? And then multiple examples from just random ass crazy people who won't have an issue with me because of whatever issue they want to have with me. His name was multiple with my most recent haters. They know who they are. I know you're watching my shit. You need to get a life, dude. The reason you must mock these kinds of people is because this is what drives personality. Not the only thing. You cannot have a personality that is just mocking people. That's not how that works. But you need to show that you have bite. Can't be all bark. You can be a rhetorician as much as you want. No, you can be a Vosh type if you want. You can be a Papa Bird Jake / the Bible Reloaded / Hugo originally, now Hannah and Jake type if you want. You can do that if you want. But it's not gonna work. And the reason it's not gonna work is because when you start attacking people for their opinions, and you try to attack them for something that has been proven as a truth that you will try to misrepresent as a lie, when that lie does not work, you will have to explain why you said said thing. So, when you monetize a hater like this, the easiest way to do so is to simply just say, that's not what I said, show what you actually said, and then ask them, so can you explain anything you just said? And make sure you stare them down when you do, digitally or otherwise. And when they crater, you say, aha, might I suggest you actually listen to what I say? This is one of the easiest ways. Because a lot of the accusations of what we deal with in this business is people calling people names that they are not. Like calling somebody a white supremacist. It's not good. So, if you were to just ignore these kinds of people, this is where the problem comes in. If you were to try to ignore these kinds of people are going to then say, haha, see, they didn't say anything back to it. That means that I could possibly potentially be true, right? Or if you have done something in the past that would give an audience that is uninformed of you and who you are and your content and your personality what you do, they will then use that to try to spin it into a harassment campaign and then try to spin that into you losing your job or shit like that. When you don't bend the knee, and this is very important in this situation when that kind of thing happens, but it's not the only time. When you do not bend the knee to those kinds of mobs and you instead show what they're doing and you show what you're saying and you say it in front of them and you make sure that you never buckle or fold when you know you're not in the wrong, it drives them fucking mad. Because if in connection with the thing I said before in the other video about the alpha beta, it is the ultimate Chad move, optically speaking. And the reason why is because corporations will often do this, the thing of dropping your sponsorships, dropping support of you, if they do not understand the context of what's around what is happening. This is by structure and design. And the reason why it's like that is because corporations, they are giant entities, and the people who run their social media brands and also operate their accounts, they don't have time to look into these details. All they see is what people are mad about. So if the details around what things are happening about happen to be, oh, they said a thing and nobody can show the source of what the thing is, so the first person who offers it is somebody who has a hatred against you, when you out that person and their attempt as being fraudulent, this then allows, for one example, if you're affiliated with a business, to be able to see what is happening and then make a character judgment of you and that person and the thing that was being claimed, and then decide if the claim is valid. If the claim is not valid, like it is not in the case of people calling me a fucking pedophile because I said that Hana of Sugo the Guy is a woman of diminutive size with large breasts, answering so many fucking videos and making so many fucking videos of it, which honestly, a giant waste of my fucking time, but made it worth it. When I show that to my company, my HR rep, and I say, here's what I deal with on a regular basis, they now have an actual manifest observable behavior. You might remember that word from Patreon. This is the thing that corporations actually care about. They don't care about what you said, they care about the optics around it. So, if you're, for example, somebody like me who likes to be braggadocious, downright to the point of being mocking, and I show an HR rep that, hey, here's how I speak in private, here's how I treat people on the internet, here's what I do, here's what I deal with, here is everything about me you need to know, here or now, let's cut a deal. When I say that and I show that, and I put my hand out and I say, can we do business? When they shake it back and they say, absolutely, that is me monetizing stupidity. Because you gotta make it worth it. Because realistically speaking, you're gonna deal with this shit on a regular basis. So you have to be prepared for it. This is just one of the many ways in which you can do so. Another way in which doing so is that you make videos about when people try to make drama about you. Because it's not good to always be in drama. You should never constantly be the center of attention and the news story, especially if you're somebody who's paying attention to headlines and you're also researching and breaking the news and getting down to the nitty-gritty about them. It is not a good move to constantly be in drama. No one should ever, always, constantly be in drama. Some people, that's what they do. That's who they are. Nothing that can be done about that. Some people, they don't have to do it. They just can't help themselves. They have a problem. So, what do you do at that time? How do you make moves when you need to do that then? And the answer to you is that you make moves in volume and silence. I'll repeat that again. You make moves in volume and silence. That's the second way that you monetize haters. This is something that happens more often with corporations and very big public figures than it does streamers on any regular basis. When you need to do something, you know, when a person tries to mock you, right? And you have them attack you with very explicit, specific terms. For example, I have a hater who's super fucking mad because this person tried to fuck over Poe, right? If you don't know who Poe is, Scribe Undead on Twitter, also living scribe, content person. When they tried to fuck over Poe by fucking over the Digital Blackface podcast, they got that taken down because they tried to hijack it. They hijacked the Discord server that was for the podcast, and they hijacked the YouTube account where the videos were posted. The person was supposed to be a producer who was supposed to be working for Poe. It was basically free. All that person had to do was upload the stream, operate the stream like an actual producer would, produce the show videos, show content, put on music in the background should it be necessary for talking and discussing things with people, and continue doing that behavior in that fashion and sense. In that capacity, myself and many others, some of which would be Amy and Lamhammer and Nick, although Nick is more the artist for it rather than a person involved with it, but he is notable since he does a lot of the art. People like that, when we were there and we were discussing this and we were having this problem, this was one of the things that the guy was trying to do. He's trying to fuck us over, trying to set himself up as being a victim, is what the guy was trying to do. I'm not going to say his name, but this guy is trying to fuck people over. We actually don't know even if it was a guy or actually at all. But I'm going to continue calling him a guy because every person is a guy on the internet until proven otherwise. It's GFO. And this guy and their butt buddy tried it. It didn't work because they got the things and then they started, anarchying the server. But the thing about it is that the person was a dick anyways. People started leaving. They had half a cut, and then they literally had less than 66% of the original population. We bided our time. We waited. We explained to our audiences and our bases what was going on, who's responsible, why is this happening, go into detail. And then I mocked this person by name, called him out, retweeted on all the shit. This is public. You can find them. It's in the shit back in June of 2020 this year, between the 18th and 19th. You want to go looking for it. I'm not gonna link you here. Not necessary for you to know in that detail. But call them out, call out the points, factually correct statements, and then after we all covered it collectively, radio silence. Time goes by. They get desperate. Their plan was to use people like me for clout, make themselves victims, signal boost that we're gonna be doing XYZ. Try to use my platform to then get to other people. Technically, all of us, but especially me. Because I believe this person has a thing against hating blacks. Not because they are racist, but just because they're a asshole. And they are how they are. They tried it multiple times. Tried to send people to spy on my server. Tried to send people to go in my server and try to find any explicit material to then release to the public to try and put me in a bad light. Tried to get me to continuously go on to their hijacked version of the podcast that they no longer can run on the channel because Bo got his shit back. Continued to ignore them. And then when they basically decided, fuck it, I didn't get what I wanted, it's not funny anymore, now I just look like an asshat, now I just look embarrassing, it's all over, dude, it's all over. When they pack it up and they go, when they now have tucked their tails and they are running, I mock them as they crater. That is an example of moving in volume and in silence. By addressing the statement, by treating it as it should be treated, as a ridiculous thing that should not be fucking happening because the person's fucking people over, everybody can be informed about the issue of the topic. Then, by making it radio silent, if people were to ask about it, I don't tell them. I'm only explaining this now for this context, for this to be clear. If you do not know that something is happening, and it is not important, you should not concern yourself with it. Not because we have something to hide, but because it's probably better for you to not be involved in. It's probably better for you not to see or hear, because it doesn't fucking matter. That just is how it is. I know it for some people, they want to have 110% of the details, because I'm that kind of person too. But I like to have 110% of the details because I pay attention and study things a lot. Studying the waves and movements of drama helps that. But there are some people you don't need to know everything that fucking happens. It's not everything is interesting. Sometimes it's fucking boring. Sometimes it's fucking boring and pathetic. and treating it as it should be treated, as something that either does or doesn't matter, is a make or break. Because once you put something out there, when you address it by name and you talk about it, you lead it credence and power. It is one of the most dangerous parts of clout. It's not just that it's not a thing that doesn't matter in the long term, because clout is temporary, and being a good person or being a profitable business is forever. But once you address something and you put it to name, that thing now lives and exists and breathes. This is why I will not and will not ever fulfill any request to make a video about a specific someone. Yes, that person fucked me over, but I can't sit there in a thread all the time, fucking looking for something to laugh at them for while my life is in shambles. That's not smart. That's just petty. That's pathetic, is what that fucking is. And there are some people, even then, who quite literally just have it in for me. Who, in that thread that I'm talking about on the website, will continue to try and mock me if I ever show up there. And it's not because I actually did anything mockable. It's literally that in order to pin this person for everything that they were responsible for, I had to become a public figure. Or rather, I had to become more of a public figure. On that website, I couldn't just have anonymity. I had to now choose to reveal myself, to expose them and show that, yes, I am doing these things. Yes, this is happening. Yes, this is real. They cannot get away from this. That's what I had to do. That's what was necessary. That's what was called for. And now, that's why I don't go to that thread. Still use this website, I just don't go to that thread because it's unnecessary. I can't work on myself if I'm worried about insulting other people. And that's the other reason why sometimes monetizing the hater requires not just mocking them in volume, which means, in corporate terms, mocking them in volume being light of day. I'm saying things publicly that people can see. And when I say those things publicly, people know that I said them because there's some kind of proof that I said them, a video, a tweet, something, rather than the silence or darkness of the night. You know, the thing, don't do things in the light, or rather, don't do things in the dark that you wouldn't do things in the light. It's what a light of day policy is. Some of you might not recognize that because that's an antiquated phrase. Light of day, darkness of night, you know, horrible night to have a curse kind of shit. Victorian and ye old English, speaking of the Queen's English. But that is what companies look for. Because a light of day policy is nothing more than a social media communication standard. Hey, you represent our company. Don't say these things. Simple, right? Be a streamer. Don't say the N-word. Or any variation of the N-word. Or, if you're a comedian, come up with variations of using racial terms. But finding a way to make it funny, so that people do not feel insulted and called out. You know? Don't call a person of Ashkenazi descent a word that can easily be confused for an object that floats in the sky on string that floats around during breezes in the summer and or springtime. It means find a new and interesting word that sounds like another word, but is not the word that it sounds like. My ninjas, or preferably my Yigas, members of the Gendorf Dragmire, we hate Hyrule Clan. That is how we do that. That is what that is there for. That is why that is a thing they're super concerned about. Because realistically, corporations are stupid. They are. Like multi-million-dollar businesses ran by people who are completely out of touch with the public. And they're out of touch with the public because they only need to be as in touch with the public as necessary. And sometimes that means when people try things and they attack people and they try to use the corporation to make that possible, they will usually go for the sponsor. They will usually attack you by getting people to disassociate from you doing that. Some people, you just need to monetize your haters by showing that this is shit that has been done to you and show how they have tried to fuck you over and that your action is warranted. Not only is it warranted, but where they would seek to destroy you, you just want to mock them. That's a two-way street, by the way, by the by. Just because they mock you does not mean every single person needs to be addressed. You know? Somebody tries some shit on you, you mock the person, and then they try bringing their following in to try and get attention from you. You can mock the person who you originally addressed and block everyone else. I know some people don't want to block people on social media because one, it's funnier, and two, you should need to. But those are what those tools are there for. Those are what those tools are there for. They are meant to be used like that. It sucks because it's much funnier to mock them, but that's the reality. That's what you got to do. It is what it is. It is what it is. You can't get away from it. You can't do nothing but or from or for it. That is how it is. So at the end of the day, if I'm saying anything and if I haven't lost you while I was talking, the reasons to mock your haters and monetize them is number one, informing your audience or what the fuck is happening to you. Some people don't pay attention. They don't know. They have no idea what the fuck your autism can be about. So you have to let them know. Show them examples. Give them evidence and sources and proof. Give them archives. Show people. Teach people how to fucking look for them in case they don't know. Don't let people be lazy. Because there's a 2B to this coming. And it's gonna be easy. But number one, inform your audience. That's the first reason. Number two, documentation. Document everything, anything, all things. Ensure and show that you are moving with the law and smugness on your side, because that's necessary. It's a very important part, if not the most important part. Number three, on top of documenting everything and informing your audience and letting people know, you are making it easy to find for the public. There will be people who will sensationalize the topic and the attitude if they wish to. You must ensure that your side is being heard. You can keep saying it. Every time they tell a lie, tell the truth 10 times and keep yelling it at the top of your fucking throat. Find any person who will repeat it. Get any person who will listen to listen. Get that shit out there, because you are on a marathon race and the lie is as fast as Usain Bolt's semen. Like a bullet. And number four, the most important reason, notoriety. Attention seeking is not something that a lot of people should seek to do, especially if they don't like the camera or the limelight. If it bothers them and it's a thing that will cause them pain and torture and all that shit, that is something that must be addressed. That is something that must be concerned. That is something that you must be aware of. You have to be prepared. You must be prepared to deal with them in that fashion. Some people are going to call you attention-seeking asshole and blah, 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 but fuck those people. They are not concerned with your day-to-day life. If they were, they would be in the group giving you help. And I don't just mean money. They would be there helping you. They would contact you personally. They would follow up with you. They would pay attention. And they wouldn't just talk shit about you on some corner of the internet or even talk about you in your own community, dogging your name. And it's not to say that you cannot have dissension. You can be for someone and also disapprove their behaviors and actions. You can call somebody out in private or in public and say, hey, you were a fucking asshole for this. You can do that. But that's not the same thing as what I just said. There are some people who will always have a problem. They will never not have a problem. So they will find a way to give themselves reason to make themselves believable as somehow being more worthy than others. And that is what it is. I can't convince them. They won't change. They're stuck in their ways. They oppose me for some reason that's diametric, concerned to my hobby, concerned to my existence, my identity, my past, real, assumed, or otherwise, which I don't have anything to hide, so good fucking luck. But there's nothing I can do to change their opinion until they decide that I am deserving of being heard. All I can do is do me and do me and continue doing me, even when me gets tired of me. Because I can't stop being myself. Myself will change, but the evolution of me, myself, and I, and these two dumbass eyes I have on my face, what I choose to look at and what I choose to walk towards, is 100% in my purview. They can be with it or they can be against it, but they have to respect that it's my choice. The same way I get to tell them, and that they will tell me that I have to respect theirs. Otherwise, it's not about them respecting me. It's not about me respecting them. It is about them trying to get from me something that I will not give them. And nah, homie. I ain't boo the fool. Fuck you mean? Fuck you mean? No. Get the shit out of here. I'll laugh. Make sure the door don't hit you on the way out. Your ass too big. Showing it way too goddamn much. Not just all the way out of jeans, bruh, but all the way out the goddamn pocket. Ridiculous. But those are your 4 reasons. If you wanted to separate them, however you want to separate them, on why you would do that, on why you would monetize your haters. And there's kind of a zeroth rule to this too. You monetize your haters because monetization, realistically, in live streaming, at least, having the personality to show that you are about that shit that you're about. You will do privately and publicly the same things that you say you will. I'm as mocking to people in private as I am in public. I will dog them out and say the same things at all times. I'll just have to code switch, use different words so I don't offend certain people who are looking for words to be mad about and be mad at. You will do the thing because that is what is required of you to do the thing. This, again, is much more specific to live streaming because it's a day-to-day thing where shit happens and people expect you to have an opinion, be an instant expert and all that shit. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. And if you don't like what I gotta say, alright, kick rocks, dude. That's realistically it. The same thing applies to corporations, shit or not. Because I want to try to attract those kind of corporations who will get behind the shit that I had to say. Not just because I'm the one saying it, but because they believe in the shit that I'm saying. They believe in the philosophy that I have as my guiding goals and methods towards life. I try to impose the same thing in my audience in terms of offering it as an alternative if they don't like the way that they're living their life. Try to hold myself to my own standard so that when people accuse me of not doing so and call me hypocritical, I can say, no, the fuck I'm not. It's some real shit. It reminds me of the Roman aristocrat, I want to say. It was a Roman Senate man. He was returning from the highways where he was carrying a dagger from the inner city to go to consulate, to go to the Senate, after dealing with vagabonds and highwaymen. And he was accused, because this was concerning a weapons ban, of no man carrying a knife inside of the Senate. He was accused of trying to supersede the rules as they applied. So, took the knife out, stabbed himself in his own heart. That's the kind of shit I'm on. So, in accordance with living my standards, there's a video about why you should monetize your haters and the reasons why. Which I guess the zeroth rule there would be self-accountability. I hold myself accountable, and by holding myself accountable, I then hold others accountable to the same standards they apply to themselves as they would try to apply to me. I hold myself accountable so I can hold others accountable. So they cannot lie and say what they want to say, or they try to do some reach around logic, such as, well, you say you do as you say, but not as you do. Again, I'm not a perfect individual. I never said I was. I will never be. I'm not going to try to be. I'm just going to try to be me. And if you are going to try to control me, you can suck me off. Suck so much I get blowjobs from it. But anyways, there's the video. You all have a nice day. Goodbye. Fuck right. And remember to spay and neuter your pets.